And we're live, streaming to you from the footsteps of New York City. We are Music Matters with Jason Tramm, and we're delighted that you can join us for our unique podcast community. And we have a special celebration today, as you can tell from the balloons and the happy birthday sign behind me. It is the 1-year anniversary today on the founding of our podcast, Music Matters with Jason Tramm. And I'm so excited to tell you about our podcast and how we came up with the concept. And normally I would be interviewing distinguished conductors and singers and artists and many different indie singers, songwriters, and everything in between, you name it. But today I get a distinct pleasure to interview some people who are even more closely related to me. I've got my daughter Rosalyn Tramm and my son Quinton Tramm, both of whom helped me to form this podcast. Rosalyn did the logo and all the graphic design, and Quinton does the tech production and all the tech work. So we're going to talk about all that today. And really, this podcast was born out of the combination. We were home during COVID, and we discussed it over and over again, what to do. And I wasn't doing a lot of conducting, and I was doing mostly teaching remotely, and music had changed so much. And we came up with this idea to do this podcast where we could talk to friends and colleagues and have these conversations. And it turned into a way for musicians to talk about innovations that we've all made during the COVID period. So I'm so proud of working with my children, and I'm so proud that we've grown. When I first started, we really had just a dream, and we were just talking on the internet. And now we have 1,425 subscribers on YouTube, which is so wonderful. And we celebrate tomorrow the debut of Music Matters with Jason Tramm on WMCA radio in New York City. So we're going to be on the 11:30 to noon slot on WMCA, and we're so delighted that we can be a part of that programming along with a wonderful roster of shows, and we're really honored by that. So we're so excited to talk to you today about what makes Music Matters tick, and I'm so delighted to introduce my daughter, Rosalyn Adele Tramm.
Hello, I'm Rosalyn. As he said before, I'm the graphic designer. I design the logos, any of the splash art you see, and the thumbnails. That's all my work. So last year, before COVID, I was in a class called Digital Design at my home school. And there I learned how to do Photoshop, Illustrator, and everything in between to be a graphic designer. So there I got my Photoshop certification, where it's helped me design his logo. Yeah.
Let's talk about the logo. Now, everyone has seen the Music Matters with Jason Tramm logo, and I get a lot of compliments on it, and very few people know that it's my high school daughter. She graduates high school in a couple weeks, and I'm very proud. She's going to go to Seton Hall University in the fall, and very proud of her. It's a great school, and yay. So tell us about, how did you come up with the logo, and how did you come up with the design, and give us the background.
So the logo originally, I was in class with my teacher. We were brainstorming for a chili poster night. And so I was like, okay, this is fun. So I thought I had this great concept, and the guy totally shot it down. They didn't like it at all. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll never use this again.
Well, their loss is our gain.
Yeah. So he comes to me and proposes this podcast. I was like, oh, sure, I can design a logo. I've been doing that all year. So I was looking through my old logo book, and I find this chili poster logo. And I was like, if I rework this, we can make it to this podcast logo, and it worked out. It looks amazing.
So people ask me all the time, is it a speaker? It looks like either it could be a speaker, or it could be just the world and music around it. So what was your concept on that?
So for the logo, I knew I loved using geometry, and because the podcast is about music, a speaker would be more symbolic of music, but it's like kind of a smaller way to show it. Not really a lot of people would notice it. So I did base it off a speaker. So yeah.
Cool. So tell us about what does music mean to you?
So to me, music is about expressing yourself and getting yourself out there. I knew for 8 years I played the flute, so I've always had music in me. I've always been singing in choir. I've been in all county playing flute and singing. But I just love getting music and expressing myself, and that's what I think it is to me.
Thank you, Rosie. I put her on the spot with that one, but I did that on the show. It's my job. I'm going to introduce, you stay here. I'm going to introduce my son, Quinton Tramm, who has been my right-hand man on this whole project. Many people know that I'm not great with technology. In fact, I'm tech kryptonite. So for me, I had to learn so much. And one thing I've noticed about all of my colleagues in the music field, we've had to learn so much. We've had to go in different directions. As a teacher, I've learned how to use technology technology and work remotely with some students and some students in the room at the same time. I've learned how to do rehearsals on Zoom. You name it, we've had to do it. And so many of my colleagues, I'm always impressed by how creative the creative career is. People in the music industry have been incredibly creative and have done such marvelous things, and Music Matters has taught me so much. Whether it be the indie singer-songwriters or the classical conductors or the opera singers who are singing at the Met who have TikTok presences, you name it, singers and artists are doing it. Quinton, welcome.
How's it going?
Introduce yourself.
My name is Quinton Tramm. I'm 21 years old. I'm studying television and video production at Seton Hall University, and I'm a senior this year. I can't speak right now, but I'm here. And yeah, I've been studying like what we're doing here for a couple of years, and when the COVID pandemic hit, me and my dad decided that we wanted to take what I knew, which meaning the technical side, combining the technical stuff with the creative stuff, and him with the creative side, actually podcasting and hosting. And once we put that together, I mean, the rest is history. Obviously, we'll talk more in depth about it as we go on. But yeah, I'm just the man behind the curtain as the technical director and producer. There we go. Got to get my titles right. But yeah, I love doing all of it though.
So Quinton, tell us about the, now when we first started the podcast, we really were starting at scratch. I'd never done anything like this before. I'm used to being in front of people because I'm a conductor. So I'm used to being in front of orchestras and choruses and teaching classes. I've been doing that for 25 years. But being in front of the camera like we are now was completely new to me. And it took me a long time to get comfortable. And Quinton was directing me along the way, giving me notes. And Rosa was giving me notes on how to be a better host. Because these two young people, talented young people, grew up watching YouTube. So that was really a steep learning curve for me, and I've worked so hard at getting more comfortable with that. Also, technically, we've learned so much. Tell us about our technical journey.
Oh boy, that's a long and arduous journey, but I'm glad we did it because I've learned so much about the technology we use. And I love technology already, but like I've learned so much more than I ever could have possibly imagined being home and not be able to go out for a year. But where to begin? So I guess the beginning. So last year, exactly 365 days ago, we did our first podcast. That was Stefanos Korneos, correct?
Shout out to Stefanos Korneos and Teatro Graticello. He wished us a really wonderful thank you and a great tribute today. So shout out to Stefanos, who's doing great work in the Teatro Graticello. Yep.
So anyways, the first show we ever did, we were using a crappy $400 camcorder that was hooked up to my iMac via a capture card. And it's all this technical jargon is basically just another way I was connecting a camera to a computer, and we're taking that footage and putting it on YouTube. And we had Rosie's graphics, which weren't fully done forever. We had to still do some technical work, but they were mostly done. And but we threw it all together, let's see. And then, it worked out for the most part. We were having some technical issues because we were trying to use Skype. That was our first platform we used to get the guests on, and we were having some technical issues. I think it was just our internet that day. But we got through it, and people were very interested in it. And we were like, well, we weren't surprised because we wanted to do it. We were hoping that people were interested in it. But once we saw that, wow, people were actually seeing this, it was really cool, and it kind of inspired me. Because before I was like, yeah, let's do a podcast, but now I was like, damn, we could do this. We could really actually do this, and promote artists and help people out and like get their stuff out there that might not have a platform before to do it. It was just really cool. So going on from there, did a few more shows, we got a little bit better, but we kept having problems with our internet along the way, at least in the beginning. We had, I'm not going to name the provider, but our previous provider...
It rhymes with Domcast.
Domcast, there you go. Those guys, even though they advertised really decent internet, at least for the one we had set up at our home, it just did not work. We were losing calls every now and then. It was just bad. And
we lose connectivity, their streaming capability.
And then my dad would be like, what do I do? Because he wasn't that comfortable on camera.
I've never been on the camera before,
and
all of a sudden, like the guest drops out, and I'm staring at you with not knowing what to do. So now I just juggle and tell a joke, I couldn't get them back instantaneously. But back then, I turned white and I just stopped talking.
Yeah, but even with our limited hardware, we were really able to produce something really special. The more we did, the more we realized we could really make like a whole like thing out of this, like a whole like. What would you call it? Like a whole
series.
A whole series of just promoting artists and their amazing works. I mean, anywhere from opera to indie rock bands to like every single genre you can think of.
Now, you're a musician as well. What do you do in the music world?
So at Seton Hall University, I studied jazz guitar with Carol Hammersma, and before then, in high school, I also played guitar pretty often, like maybe like an hour a day practicing with another teacher. But yeah, so I have a history in music in that I play guitar and jazz guitar and blues guitar, and I love rock, and that's kind of like what I listen to because that's what I grew up with. But yeah, I've been doing music my entire life, and I wasn't like playing. I was always at this guy's concerts, watching him, helping him set up beforehand, even before this whole COVID thing. I've always been like right behind him, being the man behind the curtain, getting stuff done, just a little thing so we can make sure everything goes smoothly by the show.
One thing that almost nobody knows is if you've ever seen any of my work on YouTube, he probably shot it. Okay, so Quinton does all my video production, and ever since he was a sophomore in high school, he's been shooting my videos, and we've been doing it for a long time. We've grown in our complexity. He's got more cameras now. He does angles. He knows, as he's grown as a in the film industry, he's learned a lot, and we've learned together. Like we learned different shots.
Yeah, so it's one thing to learn in the classroom, but my dad, I'm being so professional. Jason Tramm has allowed me to take what I've learned in the classroom, like every studio production class, every documentary filming class I've taken. Immediately I've just been like, hey, you got a concert I could do? And I would just go and film it, and I would edit it, I would do the audio, well, not all the audio all the time, that's something new I've been doing, but I've been doing most aspects of everything from the shooting and the editing, and yeah, so 90% of the stuff you probably see on our YouTube channel was shot by me if it looks professional.
Also, a shout out to my daughter Liliana, who is in Texas right now. She lives in Texas, and she's watching the show. So, hey, Lily. She helps us in the summer when she's there, and we're going to get you back on the podcast as well. So, shout out to Lily in Texas, and Pearland, Texas, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so going back to the tech stuff, so in the beginning, we really didn't have very powerful hardware. We just kind of had a camera and a pretty crappy computer. It was an iMac, which is an Apple product for those who don't know. And although I've been using it a lot recently for other endeavors outside of Music Matters, in terms of podcasting, you need a lot of power in your computer in order to stream at a high resolution at a high frame rate. And beforehand, we were streaming at 720p, 30 FPS, and it's perfectly fine. Like, I wouldn't complain if I saw a live stream like that, but I really wanted to push what we can do here. So by the end of the summer, around August, once I got paid through all my other jobs I was doing after we were doing the podcast, like I'd do one thing, I'd be like, oh, time to go to work for other things. And by the end, I saved up enough money to build a computer so we can really up our game in terms of the quality of the content that we produce here. So at the end of the summer, I built a $1,200 computer that had all the state-of-the-art graphics and stuff, and I built it myself. And once we had that up, we were able to go to full HD, which is 1080p and 60 FPS, which is what you're watching it on right now. So we basically just upgraded our quality by tenfold because it just looks 10 times better. If you haven't noticed on my beautiful face and all of their beautiful faces, but it's really exciting that I've been given the opportunity not only to take what I've learned in school and apply it to this amazing platform that we built here at Music Matters on YouTube, but also to just help bring awesome people to the forefront of the music industry, and hopefully we can just keep growing and do more and more and help people out like that. It's really cool, and I really enjoy doing both sides, both the creative side, helping script out certain parts, and the technical side, building computers and running the stream behind the camera, because usually I'm right over there. You never see, you might hear my voice occasionally, we lost the guest, we'll just wait, it's this riff, but besides that, I'm kind of the man behind the curtain, so I'm always there, I'm just not in front like he is. He's the front man.
And after the show, I always get notes on the things that I missed, that I can read better, and things I can do better. And we're always learning on this show, right?
It's always a learning experience. I always learn something new. At least on the technical side, I can do this better. I can adjust their mic levels a little bit better. Just all sorts of crazy stuff.
As we grew technically, and as we started to incorporate more graphics into what we're doing, just in addition to just turning on the screen and talking at you, I started to say, what if we branch out and we look for different types of guests? I'm blessed to work in the music industry. I've been there for 25 years, working in the opera, classical music, choral world. Alongside, I'm a college professor at Seton Hall University as well. So in addition to that, I said, what if we reach out to guests from other places. So I made an alliance with Reverb Nation, which is the largest promoter of indie artists in the world. Millions of artists are represented by Reverb Nation. And Reverb Nation has now provides artists for me, and I get to choose some wonderful artists from across the globe, mostly contemporary singer-songwriters, rock bands. We've had rap artists now.
Yeah,
we
really
keep
cool.
on trying out new things, world music, and it's so exciting because I learn something on every show. And that to me is so interesting.
Very true.
Every time we've got someone, I do my homework. Quinton makes me study.
Oh, yeah,
Rosalyn
make
makes
him
me
study, making sure they read the bios and know everything that he needs to know. Not that he doesn't do it already, but I make sure I'm on him, making sure he doesn't say something kind of dumb on the show. We want to make sure it's clean, it's perfect.
I don't know a lot about pop
way.
music. I don't know a lot about
Exactly.
rap. I had to do my homework. And each of these genres is important. There's a lot of people. Some of these artists we've had on have huge social media followings, way more than some of the classical people. One person had 50,000 Instagram followers.
Very cool,
and
yeah.
we've had a lot of those. And it's been a pleasure because I've learned so much across the genres. And that's been something really exciting to me.
Yeah, it's something we didn't realize we'd be doing is all these other different types of artists, which is awesome because, as you said, we've learned so much, not only from the technical side, but also what they do as artists and how they're kind of the same in a lot of ways. It's very, very interesting, and I'm glad that we get to show that to the world, to a general audience. It's very interesting.
Speaking of the different artists we've had on the show, I've reached out to a few people today just to get some feedback, and some of them have sent me some comments. I'm going to read a few as we're doing the interviews today. We're just talking to you. The first is from a renowned author, Howard J. Smith, who is the author of Meeting Mozart and Beethoven in Love, and he's a board member of the Santa Barbara Symphony. He was a wonderful guest on our show a few months ago. Oh, by the way, we've done over 150 podcasts in this year. 150. And I'm so proud of these two and the team we have here. We have a campfire in the backyard. We like to sit out there and kind of talk about, we kind of dream about what it could be. And it's really exciting. That's one of the things that's kept me creative and making art happen and just keeping ourselves excited. Howard J. Smith writes, wishing you the best of luck and continued success now that Music Matters is now being broadcast on WMCA radio in New York City, the very same radio station I listened to as a kid growing up in New York.
Wow, that's awesome. I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
Thank you so
neither.
much, Howard. That's really cool. Appreciate
Howard
the
J.
comments.
Smith. WMCA, for those of you who don't know, was the first radio station to play the Beatles in America.
So they're pretty cool in my
Wow.
book.
Well, that's very cool. Now they're the Mission, but really excited to be a part of their roster of guests. So thank you, Howard. I'm going to read one more, and this is from another author. We'll get the authors in the way first. My dear friend Maria Cristina Necola, my Romanian friend, who is a brilliant writer and a brilliant mind as well. She was the author of, her last book was The Don Carlo Enigma. It was a really wonderful podcast. Learned so much about art and history mixed together.
Fascinating stuff.
Music Matters with Jason Tramm is the podcast to watch in musical culture. For the past year, Maestro Tramm and his hardworking team have led us on a fascinating journey through eye-opening conversations with performing artists, writers, musicians, administrators, entrepreneurs, and more, introducing us to an extraordinary diversity of trailblazers. Happy one-year anniversary. To celebrate this podcast is to celebrate those who have showed us time and again that in creativity, innovation, and faith, the arts and the human spirit will always find a way to prevail and inspire, no matter the challenges we encounter. Congratulations, Jason and family, and may your unique podcast continue to expand and rise to unprecedented heights. Maria Cristina Necola. Thank you, Maria.
Yeah, thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
Really cool words. We really appreciate it.
It means a lot to us. And anyone online who's watching, feel free, if you are a past guest, feel free to write us a comment. We love to read our comments online. We love to monitor the chat feature. It keeps us always going in different directions.
Very true.
And if you have a podcast idea or a genre you'd like to see more of, send it our way. One thing we talked about around the campfire, I remember just clearly, was when my YouTube, I love the analytics. That was all new to me. Quinton and Rosie were sharing how YouTubers watch analytics and how they become so good at monitoring their analytics.
Yeah, just before you go into
Sure.
all these numbers, basically what he's talking about is that on your YouTube channel, if you establish your own YouTube channel, on your personal settings page, you could see all of your past episodes and how they do and what type of views they're getting, what country they're from, and all sorts of different statistics, which are very useful to YouTubers to see like what type of content they're making and how it's like what audiences is it hitting? Is it hitting like younger audiences or older audiences? But either way, these stats are very important to build up your YouTube channel so you can understand where your views are coming from and how you can hit those people more, because you want to like keep your viewership coming to you. So that's what he's talking when he talks about YouTube statistics.
So thank you, Quinn, for translating. And me being 46, 21, and 18, we have a real diversity of, and also my mother is also a big fan of the show, and she's a bit older than we are, and I'm sure she's watching. Hey, Immaculate's watching. Hey, Immaculate.
Hey, Immaculate. How's it going? It's great to see you again.
The wonderful indie rap artist, Immaculate. Check his music out. He's got one of the he was a wonderful podcast, and we're so glad he's joining us.
Yeah, check him out. He's great.
Really great music. So we were just talking about we were looking at the demographics, and classical music tends to skew on the older side of the demo. So we said, how can we get younger people? I teach college, and I love to introduce classical music and art music to younger people, and I really enjoy that part of it. And I said, how can we get the younger audience to be involved more? And we said, well, why don't we try the different genres? And I would say now we hit a complete range of people from the age of 15 all the way to 65 plus. And to me, that's so exciting. They may like different things, but we try to do different shows that are going to grab different people.
Yeah, we want to, like, as we were saying, we want to make this podcast very general. So, like, people that love the music and the people that are, like, professionals could both watch and get something out of it. And maybe they'll learn something new. Maybe they'll go to one of your other interviews and be like, opera music's pretty cool. And that's what we want to do. You want to show people that it's not just pop, it's not just rap, it's everything that makes music so diverse and cool. And
there's one thing that unites all people is we all love music.
Exactly.
Yeah. Everyone. I've never met, I've met one person in my life who said, I don't like music. And I'm like, you should be, on a different planet.
Yeah.
I don't know. but once you take out the genres, I love to see the universals that make music interesting. Mm-hmm. That's the story I want to tell. And I love telling stories. I love finding interesting people that have done interesting things and have tried something new. And they can and we teach each other. Artists inspire each other, and I think that's one of the most important things. Mm-hmm. I'm going to read a few more of these quotes because we have some more here.
Yeah, and then we could talk about the future of the show.
Absolutely, we have really exciting things on the horizon.
Sounds good.
This is from Quinton Sampson, a wonderful opera singer. She's a soprano, a lyric soprano, and a dramatic soprano, and has done some wonderful work, most recently with New York City Opera. And she said, while the COVID-19 pandemic brought pain and death to the world, it also helped each of us to see what really matters in life. May our choices continue to be bold and our lives full as we emerge into the next phase of creating art and celebrating life. Together, we can accomplish anything. Quinton Sampson. Thank you, Quinton.
Nice.
Thank you.
And I'll give you one more, then we'll look at the future of what may be on the store for Music Matters. This is from Tim Bostwick, who's a doctoral candidate at the University of Illinois at Champaign, and he's the creator of the Voices of COVID series, sponsored by the National Association of Teachers of Singing. And he interviewed me before we started the podcast, and he's been a guest on the podcast, and also he's done great work interviewing some of the luminaries in the vocal music and choral world. So Tim says, "Congratulations for all your hard work in 1 year. It has been a true pleasure to listen and watch the growth of Music Matters. From your poignant questions to the fantastic guests you've had, it is no surprise that the podcast has grown so large. Most of all, your encouragement of artists from across the spectrum is tremendous and deeply felt, and appreciated throughout our community. Thank you for giving a platform to so many to share their stories. Bravo, Jason and Team Tramm."
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tim.
Really awesome. It's really
It's
cool.
humbling. It really is humbling. And shout out to my mom, Joan Tramm, who's watching on the podcast right now.
Hi, Grandma.
It really is a team. My mother is also very good by giving me notes. She's been watching me perform since I started singing in church as a boy soprano at age 5.
That's crazy.
So she's been monitoring my work for a very long time, and she knows when I'm on and when I'm off. All right, so what are the things in the future we can look at in the graphics department? What do you think we can look at?
So I'm planning on updating all of our graphics, the ones you see with
Looking
the
forward to
two
it.
people. I want to do more graphics when I'm having more time. I graduate next week from one of my schools, so I've got like a whole day ahead of me. So
Nice.
new graphics on that.
And Rosie's doing it. She had her prom last night.
Yeah. And then I'm planning on working for maybe a newsletter you said you wanted to. I wanted to update that and get that going.
That's a reminder. You can join to see our library of past episodes, 150 past episodes. Go to our website at www.jasontram.net. That's 2 M's, www.jasontram.net.
And it's in the description of this video. So just click description and all the information right there. Our social media, our website, and everything else you can find out about us. So please check that out. It really means a lot.
Very good. So thumbnails, right? We're going to be working on thumbnails.
Yep.
Yeah, we're only 3 people and we're all very busy, but we work around the clock to get these things up there, and we're going to be really this summer working on raising our game. How about technically and creatively?
Oh boy, we got a lot in store in that department. So while Rosie will be working on the graphic and make the show look a lot better with her graphs up, they already don't look good, they look awesome, so keep that up. I am going to be building a second computer. I'll try to keep this as simple as possible because I know not everyone is as nerdy as me building computers and such. But I'm planning to build a second computer so that way we could stream to multiple platforms concurrently. So right now our podcast is YouTube only. We're planning. Oh, we're on the radio now, but
as of tomorrow.
As of tomorrow, go check that out. WMCA, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can also check that out online. Do you know what their website is?
WMCA.org, I believe.
All right, well, check that out for sure. Maybe we can put.
You can watch it anywhere in the world. I'll put them in the chat.
Yeah, put that in the chat while I'm talking. So let's see, where to begin? Yeah, so I'm going to build a second computer, and right now we're a YouTube-only podcast. And while we're on the radio, we also want to get into more video streaming services. For those that might be on the older side and not know this, there are a lot of streaming services that are very popular on the internet right now, which is like where it's at in terms of stream at. YouTube is actually not the best one to stream at. Everyone goes on Twitch nowadays, and that's where we want to go for sure at first. And with the secondary computer, we want to stream to at least 10 different platforms concurrently. LinkedIn Live, Facebook Live, Twitch, let me think, what else? YouTube, obviously, we're already there. Vimeo, yes, that one too. Just any platform that is accepting of us and wants to get more content. And we want to get our word out there to more people so we can promote the artists we bring on the show and really get them out there and show their awesome work to the world. So with that computer, it'll give us the ability not to stream to one platform, but to 10 at the same time. And while our main podcast will always probably remain here on YouTube, we want to expand outwards and make sure we can reach every audience member we can possibly get to. So that's the first thing. Let's see, what else?
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. I'm trying to think.
New York City Radio, and I just put the radio link in the chat. That's our page on the radio station of WMCA, and shout out to WMCA. Check out their other programming as well. But you can go on there and you can listen live from anywhere in the world on the internet. So if you're out of the New York City airwaves, make sure you go on there and check us out. Our time slot is 11:30 to noon, and you can check us out.
Yeah, so besides that, I feel like just lots of little things like updating the thumbnails as Rosie's going to do, and curating our content a little bit better, making a better way to see our upcoming guests. Just little things on our website we want to upgrade a little bit, but we're just improving in every way possible. And as Dad said, we are busy in life as well. This is what we do full time, but when we can dedicate time, we will, because we really think this is a really interesting idea. We want to keep growing it and keep bringing awesome people to the table to listen to this great podcast.
When we started this, we had no idea if this would be anything that people would be interested in. I know we were interested. We said, this is something we can do.
Yeah, just something we could all work on and improve our skills regardless if it succeeds or not. But like as you can tell, we're at 1,004 subscribers a year later. We started with how many? Like through 200 to 400? Like not even 500.
Like most artists in my field, I always had a YouTube channel. I just put my videos of me conducting on there, and they sat there.
Yeah, I founded it back in 2016. It was just an archival place to upload his concerts. So when he's up for jobs, or just like to show other people, like, hey, I actually did this. They can just type in his name and go to his YouTube channel. But like we realized we have this great platform with a couple hundred subs, we might as well use it for something. Especially in the COVID time when we couldn't like interact with people directly. So it's a really cool platform, and as you can tell, we've been. And
while the show was born out of the COVID, the complete desolation in the music industry of the COVID period, now that we start to emerge, we're going to look at exploring how we turn the page together. how artists come together and restart the wheels of music, how live performances start happening again, how opera, how Broadway. We've had all the stars of all of these different organizations come on our show, and we're going to continue that. We're going to continue to look for the leaders in the field, the innovators, the artists who have something to say, and who can teach us all how we're going to make art and music viable and accessible in the years to come.
Very well put. Yeah, we're just very excited to bring you more content every week, lots of interviews. You got to look forward because we have some really great artists coming out in the future. You got to be there.
I can only tell you, if you go on our website, you can see some of the ones. I only put June up so far, but we've got people who your names you're going to know, and if you know someone who should be on our show, let me know. Reach out to me on my website. Check us out. We have special Music Matters T-shirts. We have mugs. We're going to be doing radio. We're going to be giving some radio things away in the future. Quinton keeps telling me to wait on that, but I can't wait to put these things out there and to get more people involved. Thank you so much for all of you who support us, and this is a real labor of love. But I couldn't ask for better people. I'm so proud of my kids. I really am. My youngest one is not involved with the show yet. He's busy on the drums these days, but we're going to get him in the future. As we grow, we're going to get Mason, my 16-year-old, on here. And Lily, just so you know, you're going to be working this summer, so we'll keep you busy as well when you come and join us. So if you see us in a different location this summer, we're going to be shooting from our B location, which is our summer residence at Ocean Grove, right on Founders Park. So we broadcast out of Nanuet, New York, is where we live, and we're also going to be broadcasting out of Ocean Grove on Founders Park.
Yeah. I think that gives a pretty good synopsis of the story so far.
I've got a few more quotes
from
some of our guests, and then we will bid you adieu. Let's see. We have my dear friend, composer and producer David Winkler. He was one of our only guests to be live in the studio so far. We're going to be doing more live shows too.
Yes, that'll be
We've
very
got some
exciting.
awesome live shows coming up this year, this summer planned. So keep in touch with it. We got some really great live shows. My Music Matters conversation with Jason was not only live, face-to-face conversation with the musician. It was the only one he had throughout COVID. But it was a joy and not only fun shop talk. It was also served as a reminder of what normal is. Bravo, Jason, and thank you. Looking forward to our next collaboration. And we've got one coming up soon. We got a Parks concert in Long Island, so stay tuned.
Excited for that.
And the next one was a recent guest, Donna Wang Friedman, a fabulous pianist and the curator and host of Heritage and Harmony, and a tireless advocate for music. She's featured on WQXR and just a delightful artist.
She's a great person. Definitely check her out too.
Being a featured guest on Music Matters with Jason Tramm was definitely one of my favorite silver linings of this pandemic year. Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason, for bringing us all together through the unifying power of music and stories. Yours in Heritage and Harmony, Donna Wang Friedman. I'll give you one more. This is really a person who I've gotten to know over the COVID break, Paul Green, the founder of the Paul Green Rock Academy. And before that, he was the founder of the School of Rock franchise. And if you know about the School of Rock, Paul is a legend in that field. He is, I call him the maestro of rock. So Paul is
a pretty accurate title.
We're going to actually see him tomorrow. My son is in his Paul Green Rock Academy in the Connecticut branch, where they're gearing up for a big tour, 2 big tours this summer. They're going to be playing with John Anderson, Rock and Roll Hall of Famer and the lead singer of Yes. So very exciting. Paul said it was a great honor to be a guest on Music Matters podcast because music matters, and Jason Tramm understands that more than most.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Awesome. And I'll give you one more. Ice Gibson, a wonderful indie R&B artist we had on the show. Ice was doing his first post-COVID concert. He was doing a concert down in the Midwest. And he says, congratulations, Jason. Music matters, and so does your fine podcast. Thank you, Ice Gibson. We'll come back and give you a few more. Any parting shots, Rosie?
Well, I just want to say thank you for always being here. I know my dad has said we have a few supporters that are always there, like my grandma. So we just can't thank you enough for supporting us through this, through all of our technical difficulties and through us working
getting
it
set
out.
up right and getting it smooth and working the entire time.
We're
it's a
getting
journey,
there.
Yeah.
It's almost there. And like you said, you have better things in store for the future. So please stick with us so you can see us grow.
Yes, definitely. Just check us out, and we will be there, and we will be improving every day, bringing you awesome content into your YouTube feed or whatever platform you decide to watch them when we're on more.
Thank you so much, Quinton. Give you 5. And Rosie. And remember, keep music alive.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Happy birthday, Music Matters.
Yeah,
Happy
happy birthday.